So we have completed as of now reports and the module pool, okay, in the actual concept level. So now we are entering into the BDC concept. So BDC means batch data communication in detail. Okay, try to understand what is BDC and how many types we have, and we'll also write a report for one type, one of the type input. You can see a batch input is typically used to transfer data from non-SAP, non-RB3 system to RB3 systems. RB3 means in the demo or initial sessions we discussed that RB3 means yes, it's SAP system only, real-time data architecture. Okay, here non-RB3 means non-SAP systems, non-SAP to SAP, or it can be SAP to SAP also, or transfer data between SAP systems, RB3 systems. Okay, so it is a data transfer technique that allows us to transfer data sets automatically to screens belong to the transactions. So now we created module pool. So module pool we created one transaction in last session. For a single transaction, we created two screens. Even in SAP standard transaction, every standard transaction having number of screens. Okay, so that is where you're mentioning transferring data sets. Data sets means it can be anything. It can be a text file, or text file means notepad file, or CSV format, or Excel format, XLS or XLSX formats. Okay, we are transferring the data sets automatically to the screens belong to the SAP transactions or transactions. So on those into SAP anyway. A batch input is controlled by the batch input session. I'll show in next session what is batch input. This is in batch input session structure. Okay. Transaction code to record the BDC is SSDB. Okay, this is basic information we will not get understand or discussing until unless we start writing the code. Okay. Why we are, what is approach to write this BDC program and why we need this? So we understand here non-SAP to SAP data transfer is one point, and what kind of data and how we are transferring data. We are transferring data from data sets to SAP transactions. So we have a files, we need to upload that files into SAP database. Okay. So SAP database means that the data which is related to the transactions or screens. So only those 2 points is clear. And for this activity, we have access to the transactions to do manually. But why we need to go with these data sets? When there is a multiple records, like hundreds, thousands, lakhs of records, it's very difficult to do manual activity. And the timelines will be the very less while converting data. Like suppose you wanted to convert the data over the night, or in the weekends, or within the week, it is very difficult to create manually. There could be a chance the human mistake also there in that while converting data, or we might miss 2 or 3 entries that will be impact on the business side. We have a data in the non-SAP systems. It can be any kind of legacy systems, or like a .NET system, PHP system, Microsoft system, or Java systems. Okay, it can be any system. We extract the data in the form of data sets. It can be notepad or CSV format or XLS format. We'll export that data into SAP. Okay, so that data should be relevant to any of the transaction or any of the related screens. Okay, so why we need to convert this data? Okay, I just give the basic example. You can take any business in India. Example, the Reliance we can take. Okay. So they started on new business, and they have very less sales in the India wise, overall India wise, in the 2022. Okay, so when in the year end 2022 year end, they observed that they are getting more requests, and their sales wise they are improved, and they wanted to convert it into SAP. Okay, so as of now they are using some .NET system, .NET application for the billing, invoices and all. Okay, as an year end they decided that they wanted to go with the SAP because they're getting more sales, and they're getting more profit where they are ready to buy SAP. Okay, instead of .NET and all. Suppose they plan to use SAP from 2023 January onwards. Okay. So in the year end, you purchase some product in the Reliance Digital. Suppose you purchase some laptop, you have the 1 year warranty. December first week you purchased. After 3 months, which is 2022 February, you visited some showroom in different location, which is your hometown or something example. Okay. So you visited and that showroom you provided that laptop, you had some issue and you need to fix that. And they need to fix that. You requested them. They just check in the system whether warranty is there or expired. So they mentioned that warranty is not registered. So they mentioned that the product is not purchased with Reliance Digital or it might be a smuggled product. Okay, what will happen in that case? As a customer, what we will do? We have everything. We have all the evidence. We have the transactions, right? When we purchase a laptop from the Reliance Digital, example I'm just mentioning. Okay, we will file the case against the company in the consumer court. So that is the only option we have if they are not supporting properly, if they are not giving the services. So why this issue is coming? Because of data is not there in SAP database, because they are using SAP from 2023 January onwards. When we visited after 3 months, that time they're using SAP. When we purchased the laptop, that time they're using .NET. So whenever this request or the warranty is generated, that will store in the .NET database. If the data of database content, if not transferred to SAP database, then these kind of issues will come. So we have to transfer this data from .NET to SAP. Okay, we have to transfer when we supposed to transfer, whenever they plan to start using. Like December 31st, they are using .NET, and from January 1st onwards, they plan to use SAP. So we have only one night time to transfer this data. Okay, or at least will if the clients are okay, at least they will give 1 week of time. Maximum will get that much only. Okay, so we have to transfer this data within the over the night or within the week or over the weekend at least. Okay, so creating hundreds, thousands, or at least even 1,000 or 2,000 also, it's very difficult. We have to check each and every record. Working continuously as a human, it is very difficult. Okay, so 2008 is it will not happen in single day, and we need too much of human resource, right? Okay, so for that concept, to overcome these issues, SAP is provided this option, BDC, batch data communication. We can convert the lakhs of information over the night. Okay. So now what we supposed to do? What are the manual activity we are doing in SAP that we have to record using SHDB transaction? So whatever we recorded, that recording code, we put it in the loop and we upload the Excel. So whenever we upload the Excel, that data will go on the loop. It will complete the activity. It will display the results, whether it is created or not. So compared to this, human activity program will be always preferable, right? Program will work very efficiently. So now what approach we have to follow while we go with the BDC? We have to analyze the transaction to process the batch info data, which transaction it is, whether the transaction having all the fields, which .NET system is using. So we have to decide which method we supposed to use. We have two methods. We have to decide which method we supposed to use, and we have to read the data from the file, CSV file or Excel file or .txt file, notepad file. We have to perform the data conversion or the error checking. So why we need to check this? Suppose .NET systems, they're using India as the INDIA, but when it comes to the SAP, India, we are not storing as INDIA, we are considered as IN. Only 2 characters. If you pass INDIA, it might work or it might not work, because INDA having 5 characters, first 2 letters IN only, and SAP also using IN. That scenario it is satisfied, but if you go with different countries, it might not satisfy. So 5 characters and 2 characters, it is different lengthwise. So we have to convert the data before pushing into the SAP database, because we have to convert the data as per SAP database. Okay, so we have to perform data conversion or error checking and storing the data into the batch input structure, BDC data. This is a structure which is having 5 fields, and generate the batch input session for classical batch or process the data directly using call transaction using statement. Call transaction is one process. Session method is a second process. Okay, we have 2 types of methods in the BDC. Call transaction and session method. Okay. So call transaction, it is process of transferring the data from flat file. Flat file or data sets both are same. Flat file means notepad or the file which we are using, CSV or XLS. Flat file into SAP by calling the transaction through series of sequence of steps. What is a series of sequence of steps means? Transaction is the starting point, and then we have first screen, second screen, third screen, fourth screen. That is a series or sequence, we can say. We have to do in that way only. We should not go third screen and coming to the first screen. It will not work. Okay. Batch input session is method used to upload the data from non-SAP to SAP. Using session method, we can transfer the data through more than one transaction, unlike BDC call transaction method. So call transaction will support always single transaction. Like if you consider one of the transaction in SAP, only that transaction related data only we can transfer. Suppose in .NET database, what are the data we extracted? Example, we extracted sales information. When it comes to the SAP, the sales information is relevant to two transactions, then call transaction will not support. We have to record the two transactions and we need to put it into the session method. Then only it will work. So we can process the data using SM35 transaction. As of now, we discussed two new transactions, SSDB for recording, SM35 for session method. Please remember those. Yeah. So first one, call transaction. What are the properties or what are the things we need to remember while using call transaction? This method is used for transferring less amount of data, less than 10,000 records. If it is more than that, it might take 5 minutes, 10 minutes of time. If it is a 5 minutes or 10 minutes of time, we can see the server is keep on loading. In the top, I'll show in the where it's come under the title bar, it will showing its loading status. Sometimes if there is a network issue also, we'll get that kind of loading status. Okay. We will not understand whether it is loading, whether it is executing, whether it is network issue. Program, we have some limit in the SAP log. Okay, that will be configured by the base system. We have some session timeout. We should not use more than 3 minutes, 4 minutes. It depends on the project. At least minimum will be 2 minutes. Maximum will be the 5 minutes. More than that, if program is running, it will be generate the runtime error because of timeout error. Okay, timeout option is there in SAP. Okay. So it's better always we prefer less than 10,000 entries. If you have entries less than 10,000, that is also one criteria, and you have to use, if you wanted to use single transaction, that is also criteria for call transaction. And this method uses synchronous and asynchronous updates. Both updates we can use, but we'll always prefer, by default, it will be using asynchronous update. This I'll tell you in one of the slides, what is asynchronous and synchronous. So this method will update the database immediately. This will not wait for any action. Whenever we execute, automatically it will update the database. Okay. So we need to handle the errors and success messages by declaring the internal table of table type, BDC message call. This is one of the structure. We have to create internal table for this structure. So this method is very fast compared to the session method because it is updating database directly. And this is a syntax call transaction. Transaction you can use MM0 on whatever the transaction if you want to use, you can use that. Using ITBDC data. This is the internal table of BDC data. Here I have mentioned this is a structure of recording. Okay, so for that we have to create internal table and update mode, no screen mode. Mode is asynchronous, same is asynchronous, S means synchronous. And finally messages into ITMSC, which is the type of BDC message call. This is a basic syntax. Okay. You can see BDC data structure having 5 columns. Now program, DynPro, program and screen number. DynPro means it's a screen number technically. DynPro begin, whether screen is started or not. Once screen is started, how many fields and values are captured, that we can see in the field name and field value. Field name and what is the value we captured. Again, next field, next value, next field and next value. Once all the fields covered, next it will show the next program, next screen. So always it will be captured in this 5 columns format only. We'll see once we record it, we can see how this structure is there. Now see, we have 3 modes: no screen mode, all screen mode, error screen mode. No screen mode, this is for production use. All screen mode we are using at the time of development. Error screen mode we are using at the time of testing. Okay. At a high level, I'm telling you can use anything in any scenario, but in production use, we'll always use no screen mode. Okay. And updates mode, asynchronous, local updates, synchronous. Okay. Let me show what is the difference between asynchronous and synchronous. So asynchronous, suppose we have 100 entries in that Excel. Okay. When we process, suppose first entry started, first entry having 5 columns, example, or 10 columns. Example, student number, student name, student address. Once student number is started, after student number, student name will started, right? Pushing data into database. When student number is started, automatically second record student number will start. It will not wait for whether the first record is completely stored or not. Once the first record is processed, something, some bit of 10%, 20%, automatically next record will process. So that is why this is very fast. In this type, the call transaction still will communicate with the update work process to update the data into a database. It doesn't wait for the update to be finished. Which update, whether the previous entry is updated or not. So it immediately start the process to the next record without waiting for the update to be finished of the previous record. So that is why this is very fast. When it comes to the synchronous, so this will wait for whether the previous entry is committed or not. If the previous entry, once it is committed, then it will be started second entry. Till that it will wait. So that is why this is slow. So synchronous session method, which is the second type of BDC that follows synchronous by default. So that is why we prefer more than 10,000 entries. We'll use synchronous session method with synchronous update. And we can also push two transactions data. There are multiple criteria we have to consider for going to select the type of the BDC. Okay. Understood? Asynchronous, synchronous. Asynchronous will not wait for the previous record to be finished or not. Synchronous will check the previous record is updated or not, then it will start the second record. Since there is a wait, this will be slow. Okay. So this second approach, how to create difference between call transaction that we'll see later. Yeah, I will execute the first one, first type. Someone just repeat what you understand at least.
Basically, this tool for upload the data of legacy system.
Yes, that is the main that is the main scenario. Or we can also use single data, single record also we can process. If you wanted to processing in background, we can use BDC. Okay, some integrations also we are using now. If you wanted to execute material creation from some non-SAP system, some web portal, you can execute there. When it comes to the SAP in the background, it will execute BDC. So users can log into some web application. They will provide all material information. When they click on save, it will connect SAP in the background, and background this will execute BDC. That is the additional option, but the main use of BDC is for the uploading the legacy system into SAP. Okay.
And this is for both master data and transactional data. Both we
Yes,
can.
yes, 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 yes. Both can be uploaded. Okay. So simply you can understand the call transaction will help master data because master data always less than 10,000 entries. And session method can be used for the transaction data because it will transaction data will have always lakhs or more than 10,000 entries, right? And transaction data always integrate with two transactions, 2 to 3 transactions. Understood that? I'm just high level. It's not mandatory we should use that. For transaction also we can use call transaction if you have less than 10,000. But high level that will be the process normal. Overall, like if you consider 10 to 15 accounts, overall we are segregating in that manner in high level. Okay. Let me go to the SAP. Okay. Let's go. Let me log in again. Yeah. So we are in SAP now. So what I'm going to show that we have to, first of all, what we're supposed to do, we have to identify the one scenario, okay, for this understanding. Similarly, in module pool, we are using student concept, and classically put we use sales, purchase, right? Similarly, I use one concept which is not mentioned in this document, okay. That concept will discuss more into inside, like how we can upload, how legacy data will transfer to the SAP database. First of all, we have to do recording. Based on the recording, we have to implement these steps. Okay. Before recording, first we'll understand what is which scenario I'm taking. Okay. I'm just taking the scenario called tax code creation. Okay. It's very simple. If you go to the purchase order, sales order, we'll get more confused. I'm thinking that first of all, you have to understand the concept, BDC concept. For that, I'm taking very simple scenario, tax code creation. That tax code creation, for the tax code creations, we'll apply all these steps, okay, BDC process and all. So to create the tax code, we are using transaction called FTXP. Are you able to see this transaction code in the command bar? I'm just executing this. Click on this tick mark. Yeah. So whenever you call FTXP will start with this pop-up only. This will not doesn't have the full screen. So module pool, they design like this. This is the model dialog box. It will start from this transaction. We have to provide country. I'm just giving France, F4. We can see all the countries in F4 option also. Okay. All countries are available right here. You can see India. Started with India. You can see all the countries are available. 236 entities are there here. You can see. There are some countries are duplicate, but as per SAP, it is coming 200 plus only. It's based on this landscape. Always it will be 200 plus. Okay, but it's not meaning that we are using all. It depends on the project. If they have business in India and Japan, so we'll be always using those two options only. Okay. Why I'm using France in this system? Only France is configured. Okay, India and all not configured properly. I'm just using France. Okay, France, and then click on continue. Here we have to provide the tax code. I'll use the O1 as the tax code. If you click on enter, you can see it is already created in the system. O1 with 20% of output tax. And procedure and tax type we need to provide. Procedure will be automatically, it will pick from the database. And output tax, I just provided 20%. This is the value. Because of this value, I provided description is 20% of output tax for the France country, and tax code is O1. Okay. I'll show again how to create. First of all, I'll delete this. You can delete from here. I'll create it again. FTXP France O1 we have to enter. Then click on enter. This pop-up will come. This was not coming previously because that time we just displayed. Now we are creating. O1 is the tax code for the country France, and tax code it is already updated. We have to provide description here. 12% of output tax. Okay, and you need to select here what is the type, input or output. We are creating for output tax, right? Here I mentioned. So just select output tax, which is the value of, is A actually here. Just click on continue. Then it will landed in the last screen. Here output tax we are considering, right? Account type MWS, we just mentioned 20. And then click on enter. 20 will convert it to percentage format. Okay, then click on save. What it's showing here, tax code O1 was created. Right? If I click on enter, this is displayed. Previously it was 20%. We deleted that. Sorry, here I have mentioned 2012. We have to mention. Okay, 12%, and we mentioned 12. Both should be match. Okay, now I understood, right, how to create tax code. Jayanti and Prasanna. Sunil.
Yes, sir.
Sir, what is the use of the tax code, sir?
Yeah. So tax code is part of finance activities. Okay. Tax code defines the what percentage we are providing tax. Like we are paying the tax to the companies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that tax percentage will be defined by the tax codes. Okay. Here we have output tax and input tax, right? When it comes to the company scenario, there are two way of tax, right? When customers are paying, it will come as a input tax. When company is paying to someone, it will come as output tax. At least from basic point of view, you have to understand.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Yeah. So country-wise tax procedure is different. In India, we are using different tax procedure. When you go different country, they follow different tax procedure, right? Percentages will be different country to country. So we have to define those tax codes here, and this tax code will be using in the sales orders or purchase orders, wherever there is a tax procedure is involved in the payment level. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is one of the concept in the finance, SAP finance. Okay. So we are trying to understand how this number of tax codes upload into SAP. Consider we have 20 tax code or 10 tax codes. I'm just taking 10 entries only here for example. We can consider if hundreds, thousands of entries are there, how to convert the data into SAP database. So we, as of now, we understood how to create tax code right here.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Now what I'm going to do, I'll record this activity. Okay. I think we already created. I'll remove this one. This O1 I'll remove. So now O1 is not there. Now what is the transaction code to record the session? SHDB. Okay. So navigate to SHDB here. SHDB. Are you guys able to see this transaction code? Transaction recorder recording overview.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you have to click the new recording here. Just press this new recording. You can give anything recording name. I'm just giving ZFTXP. Okay. ZFTXP just provided. So on which transaction we are recording now? FTXP. So whenever you click on start recording, it will open that FTXP transaction. So whatever the steps we did as of now, the same steps I'm performing in the recording mode. Okay. Click on start recording. You can say, don't click anywhere. It will capture that also. You have to capture actual steps. France. After that, don't click anywhere. We have to click continue. If you click on back on some exit button, which is not required in the process, those also will be captured and the code will not execute properly. Okay. So tax code is O1. Click on enter in the keyboard. What we click now, guys, to get this pop-up?
Just entered. Yeah, continue.
Yes. Please remember all the steps. I'll show in the recording how it is captured. And here I have to mention description. Okay. I just provided this information and then I just click on tax type F4 option, output tax. Okay. Then I just click on continue. Previous screen, I just click on enter. Now I'm just click on continue. Okay. This is the final screen. Here I just enter the percentage 15. After 15, we have to convert it to percentage rate. We just click on enter in the keyboard. Okay, this is converted. Then finally click on save. Are you able to see the recording code? 21 lines it is recorded. So how many columns we have? Program, screen, start ID, field name and field value. So I was mentioned now there are 5 columns. This is a 5 columns. Right side you can see the 5 columns: program, line pro, line begin, field name, field value. This is the technical names. This is the headings. First one is a program. Screen means it's a Dyne Pro. And start ID means it's a Dyne Pro begin, starting of the Dyne Pro. Okay, then field name and field value, F name and F value. Both are same, 5 columns. So this is the structure.
Same, sir.
Yeah, this is a standard structure BDC data. Okay, the recording will happen always in this format. How many screens we navigated for FTXP? We navigated 5 screens. In the first pop-up, we provided France. I can see here France we provided. Then once we continue next screens, we provided O1. After O1, what we entered in the keyboard? I just click on enter in the keyboard. So enter, technically we call /00. It's a enter means /00. Then next pop-up will come in. Next pop-up, what I provided 15% of output tax, and tax type is A. A means output tax. What I did there, I click on tick mark. Tick mark means continue or enter. You can see ENT is continue. ENT is capture. Tick marks function code is ENT. And final screen it came. Final screen, what I entered, I provided 15. After 15, what I did, I just click on enter in the keyboard. Again, /00. Here also /00 means a keyboard enter will capture as a /00. After what is happened, it 15 converted to 15,00. That is not captured here. After 15, we just enter this. Finally, what I did, I click on save. Save means UPDA. UPDA means update. Understood, all the screens is captured properly. First screen, this is a program on this screen, and in this is a program, this screen, each and every screen and program is captured. And in this program, this is the field name and this is the field value. If you want, I'll show again. Go to FTXP. For every screen, there is a screen field. If you click on F1 here, on this F country, you will get the technical name. Click on this technical information. What is the value here? Screen field. SVALD value. You can see here SVALD value. France. So in this screen field, we entered France. And in this screen field, we entered O1. This screen field, we entered this percentage. Okay, these are all the screen fields and values. Other than this, in every screen, you can see cursor and OK code is common. Cursor and OK code. Cursor means where we place the cursor. In this field, I place the cursor. In the same field, what I entered France. What is the OK code? The new entry. FERT means new entry. In this, what is the cursor in this screen? Cursor on the tax code. This is a tax code field. In this field, I place the cursor. In the same field, I entered O1. After what happened? After that, OK code will perform. What is the OK code? Enter. So what is the cursor? Here I place MWRT. I place the cursor in MWRT. It can be anything, both any one of them. Suppose if you're recording 20 fields, it's not meaning that you need to place cursor every field. You can place everywhere, any of the field, but we are recording all the other fields also in the same screen. If I click on save, let's see if I place here. Let me check if you have other entries all there. Just close this. France. We'll see O2 is there or not. Okay, O2 is there. I'm just deleting this because we have the data configured only for this thing. That is why I'm just executing. You see here in the recording, I'm just changing to O2. I just click on save. Now I'll process this as a O2. We have the process option. You can see how recording was created. Yes. You can see only observe this one. This is just, I'm just processing how it was recorded. What is the OK code captured in this screen? For France, FERT. FERT means new entry. Continue. Left side, you can see what we recorded. You can see /00 means enter. You can see here also OK code. After O2 entered, then what we entered in the keyboard, we click on enter. Then in the third screen, these two values provided. After that, I click on tick mark. Tick mark means ENT. I'm just processing this. Then in the last screen, we enter 15. After 15, I click on enter in the keyboard. Keyboard function code is /00. You remember, right? In module pool, we created back, cancel, exit, DELE, SCARE. We created function codes now for every button in last session. And interactive report also, we created 2 function codes, EKKO, EKPO. Those are all function codes. because SAP screens are working, every click activity considered as a function code. Keyboard, either keyboard buttons or mouse cursors, everything is considered as a function code. /00 is a enter. What will happen after this? 15 converted to 15,00. And finally, what we are entering UPD. UPD means save option. You can see this process is completed, right? So in this process, you can see both ID numbers, message ID numbers, message numbers, type of the message, either success or failure message. We have both success messages. So we'll see what is created or not in FTX transaction. We open FTXP trans O2. You can see here O2 is created with 15%. So why we are using process just for testing after recording, whether it is working or not. Okay. Now recording is done, process also tested. It is working as expected, right? Now we need to create the report for this. Before creating the report, I'll create the file. Okay. We don't have any .NET system. I'm just creating manually. Are you able to see this notepad? Hello.
Oh, yes, sir.
We create one file with FTXP. Yes. I'm just creating 10 entries here. First field is France. You can write here. Country. Tax code. Description. Tax. Type. Percentage. Okay. This is the headings. Country France. Tax code. 01. Description. 10% of output tax. Tax type. Output tax. Percentage. 10%. Let me copy, please. Okay. So this is the primary key here. This scenario. Tax code. Countries are not primary key. Tax code is a primary key. We are creating tax code with the country combination. Okay. Consider 10%, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20, 25. Can say 30%, 14%. 14 is, yeah, 14 also with 14 or 24 you can write. So same percentage is important. Okay, this is the number, that is description. Description you can write anything, but percentage should be match here. Okay. $30, 25. So consider this is a file we extracted from the non-SAP system. Okay. And how many columns we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 columns is there as per transaction. Okay. When you got this kind of file, or it can be CSV or Excel or Notepad. So we have to check which is relevant. So here, since I'm taking direct scenario, okay, so that's why I'm using FTXP directly. Okay. So for this scenario, we are considering FTXP transaction and we did the recording. Now, what is the next step? For this recording, we need to create the program. Go to the initial screen. Are you able to see this recording name? ZZFTXP with the user ID, date, time, transaction, 1 transaction, 5 screens.
Yeah, I able to see.
Yeah, select this, click on the program. Okay, here we have option, create the program. Program name we have to create. Okay. Call transaction FTXP. Click on continue. You remember this pop-up, na? Similar to SC38, because we are creating from the screen from SSTB only. It is like SC38 only, or we can create an SC38, we can use the recording also. Okay. We're directly creating here because much of the code will generate. Okay. Tax code creation using call transaction. And type is the executable program only. Click on save. Save will not come because we are creating from SSDB. You can click on source code. Save in the package. Save in the transport. Okay. So are you able to see this code? Generated code.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is created in a different context, but we need to modify this code as per our needs. The report name is generated with no standard page heading also generated, line size also generated. Some include with standard code. This is standard include. It is calling here parameter as a data set. Okay. If I check and activate the data set, it is coming in some different screen, right? You can see generate session, session name, user, keep session, lock data, call transaction, generate session or call transaction. We can go with any one option. This is coming in different context. Processing mode, no screen mode, all screen mode, update mode, synchronous, asynchronous, all the options are coming. So this is created as in different approach, as a standard process, but we are not going with this project. We can also use this. This is provided by the SAP because they're calling us some standard include here. So this include code we will not able to change. At least we can open this. Even it's not opening. Yeah, so that screen is designed in this set. Okay. So based on that, we can execute.
It will automatically update it, sir.
Yeah, this code is automatically generated. Now we are not going to use this. This is as per SAP. This is generated this screen. This is the selection screen. We use the parameter, select options, radio buttons. Now similarly, it is generated. You can see radio buttons both are there in a single line. Similarly, we also created it. So they are generated. Now we are not going to use this. Okay, what we are going to do? We are going to delete this. From where we are going to delete? We are deleting. Come down here before perform. First perform whatever is there you have to do. Not this perform. Within the do loop, if condition will there. But if you recorded any transaction, not only for tax code creation, material creation, vendor creation, customer creation, purchase or organization creation, sales office, sales groups, sales organization, tax flow, this one, plant creation, so anything within the SAP, we are using BDC concept while doing recording and generating this program. This same structure will be generated. Okay, so here is a perform. Before perform, whatever is there, you just delete it. Okay, you can delete directly, or you can keep startup selection, or you can delete from starting to here. Only perform you just keep and come down after this perform call transaction. Whatever is there, you just delete. Okay, we wanted only these subroutines. What is having this subroutine? Subroutines having importing, exporting structure, right? You can see we have every subroutine having the recording code. This is the first program, first screen. If you compare with the recording SSDB, I'll open SSDB here. /go SSDB. So this is our recording, right? Double click on this. You can see what is, ignore the first line. This line you can ignore every time. What is the second line? This is a program and this is a screen. You can see the program on the screen. Ignore this X column also. What is next line here? Line number 3, what is having, guys? In this column, how many columns are filled? Only 2 columns, field name and field value, remaining are empty. So if there is a field name and field value, this will consider as a field. That is why BDC field is generated. BDC cursor is there, and then S value is there. That is also there. Next, again, no values here, screen. This is also considered BDC field. You can see BDC field. Again, next, France. That is also BDC field. If you see here, this is a field name, this is a value. This is a field name and value, we don't have France. Why France is not coming here? Because system is understood this is the dynamic value. This is not the fixed value. That is why it is generated variable. That structure we deleted. Record is a structure previously, we delete that code. We have to pass the France here. And wherever there is a value, we enter 5 values. Na? France, O2, percentage A 15. 5 values. You can see 5 places we got these variables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remaining is fixed positions and all screens, field names. Wherever there is a screen name, 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5 times. You can see Dyne Pro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Okay, so the same thing is generated as a subroutines. Now what we need to do, we need to push this every record into the internal table, which is the reference of IT BDC data. Okay. Understood guys as of now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now, as of now, I'll just comment this for the time being. This you understood what is the code we keep. I'll comment it this as of now. Format, comment out. So what we're supposed to do in this report, first of all, we have to read the file, the notepad file. To read the file, we need selection screen. Okay. I'm just creating parameter p underscore file, which is similarly classical report we created file. No? We're just creating type local file. After that, we have to use at selection screen on value request for p underscore file. We use F4 file name. No? We need to use that. Enable this parameter. If you go back and check in classical report, we use same approach. There we use for download. This we are using here in uploading purpose. Anywhere, any option in both scenarios, we need the file name to be selected, either upload or download. We need file path. Right? Okay. Selection screen. At selection event. After this, we are using startup selection. Okay. And for uploading purpose, in classical report, we use download. And there we call the GUI download. Now we are using uploading scenario here. We need to use GUI upload function model. And in this upload, we are using file name. File name is a p underscore file. This is a file path. An ASCII format. Field separator also we are using. We separated using tab. Tab is referred as hash. In this file, what is the difference here? This is a tab separator. Right. I just click on tab. When you extract the data, you should extract with tabbed separator. Okay. Otherwise, program will reading the data. It is very difficult. Okay. These 3 fields we are using. This one we are not using. This tables is updated automatically. We have to give some internal table. ITFTXP example. We have ITFTXP. Do we have this internal table declared in the top? Have we declared this internal table?
No.
So when you extract the data from this GUI upload, how many columns we are extracting from this notepad?
5 columns.
Yeah. So this extracting these 5 columns and this data will store in this internal table. So internal table also should have 5 columns. So 5 columns means what we're supposed to create. We have to create structure. Types keyword. Begin of TYFTXP. I'm just creating. End of TYFTXP. With the reference only, we need to create internal table, right? ITFTXP. Type table of TYFTXP. Let me know if you are getting any confusion here. Because we are reading the data from gupload. This is for file path. This is for file selection. After file selection, we are extracting data. Extracting data will store in internal table. After only we can process the BDC code. First of all, we have to read the Excel file or Notepad file. So we are extracting the file. We need to store into this internal table format. Excel having 5 columns. So in runtime, when we read this data, we have to fold into the 5 columns format in the reporting level. So the internal table should also having 5 columns. So when you create the 5 columns here in this structure, so we'll better to go with the same standard data elements. Okay, how to identify the standard data elements for those? Because we already identified FTXP is a suitable transaction for this content. Now, what is the first column here? Country. For country, what is the standard data element? Example, I didn't work on this concept yet. I don't know what is a country. Okay, how to identify the country for the field? It's a gray area, right, for us. Since we didn't know that, we didn't work. Suppose if you're not working on that concept, you don't know, but or you are working first time. Okay, functional point of view, I'm talking, not from technical. Technically, we are discussing now. Now, functionally, FTXP we are using. Next time, we might use different concept. There are at least in normal business process, there are 400 to 500 processes there within the FI, SD, MM. Like I gave some examples, right? Sales organization, plant creation, plant assigned to storage locations, or storage locations assigned to plants, tax code creation, bank account creation, house bank creations, payment terms creation. There are a number of concepts. So in those concepts, maximum 400 plus concepts is there process wise, at least from configuration point of view within the normal ECC landscape. So in your career, maybe we might get 2 or 3 or 4 scenarios because we are not always working BDC, right? We might work reporting, enhancement, some other concept module pull. So now here you need to understand if they mention 5 columns. For 5 columns where we identified in FTXP transaction. We just go to the transaction. First of all, I'll delete one entry because in creation approach only we can identify everything. Sorry, fans. O2 I'll delete. We'll create again. No. Now again I'll start. So you know that transaction process, right? This is the first field. If you don't know the data element, you can press F1 here. So we'll get this assistance. Okay, SAP assistance. You can see the 4th option, which is the amber symbol. You can see a technical information. So this screen we have all technical information. You can see which table it is. T005 is the master table for all countries. I think we already use an ALV report. I gave this T005. You can see the data element here. And this is a screen field. You can see a data element and field name. Field names means whenever there is a table, we'll get field name. If there is no table name, we'll get only data element. Now these combinations we can use. If there is a table and field, we will prefer to use table and field. If there is no table and field, you can go with data element. So now come to our code. What is the first field? You can see here land 1. You can write land 1, type T005 -land 1. Similar to our student report. Whenever we create structure in our student report also initially, the structure is generated in this format only. Field name, table with field. Now what is the second field, guys, in the Excel? Sorry, this file, tax code. So this data capture is done now. Now go to the second field. Provide France, it will go to the next. So what is the second field? Tax code. Here just place the cursor, click on F1. Go to this technical information. Again, you can see here, table is there, field name is there. We can use this table name. This is a field. First copy the field. Come to our code. Provide field name, type, then table with field. This is a table, hyphen. This is a field. Next, third field. Close this, go to click on enter. So this is the third field, this description one. Place the cursor and click on F1. Go to technical information. Here also we have a table. This is a field. Use the field name, text one. Come to our code. Excel content or not text content and the structure columns will be always in the same series. If there is a misorder, then it will throw the runtime errors. We'll get more issues. Sequence should be same. Okay. TW7S text one. Okay. So next fourth field. Close this pop-up also. I just give 15%. This is a fourth field. Place a cursor and click on F1. Go to technical information. MWR tax type. Okay, type. Then you have to select table with field MWR. Or you can directly copy here. Sometimes directly it will come here in the screen field. And last field. And paste here the value. Output type A continue. And what is the last field we are recording? Output tax. This one. Place the cursor F1. Okay. So do we have table and field here?
No, sir.
Field is not there. Table it is there, but field is not there. Field is not there. This is not a table. This might be structure or this might be data element. If you double click this, it's a data element. I can say. We should have both the table and field. In that case, you can use the data element. And what is the field? We don't know the field. You can use as a KBTR as of now. Or L underscore KBTR also you can use. KBTR type. And we don't have any table with field. You can use this data element directly. Come on. So all the 5 fields are there in the structure. Now structure having 5 fields. So its internal table is created with the reference of structure. Now internal table also 5 fields. 5 fields means 5 columns. Whatever the 5 columns we are reading, that will store in internal table. Understood as of now? I'll enable these exceptions. Okay. So now after this, if condition, if condition is failed, we have to write exception. I'm writing generic and exception. Basically, we have to write all 17 errors. Okay. I'm just writing generic exception as of now.
Hello.
Yes.
The screen is not moving.
Is it for everyone?
I think it struck.
No, sir, it will be running, sir.
Yeah. I think Jayanti, just check your network. Okay. So message we mentioned here, file reading error. If it is a size abasi failed, what will happen if it is a success? It will go to the else block. We have to write else. So in else, we have to write success case. What we supposed to write in else? We have to call this recording code. Okay, this recording is supported only for one entry, but we wanted to write multiple entries, right? In Excel, in Notepad, we have 9 entries. So this recording is for one entry. So how to process this recording for 9 entries? We have to keep this code in the loop. How to write the loop, guys? We already use in the classical report. Similarly, you can write here loop at IT_FTXP into work area FTXP. And close the loop. Did you remember this? And we are clearing this. Clear work area FTXP. Did you remember this? Loop and loop in internal development.
Yes, sir.
So what will happen in this loop and loop? Every loop, one work area will be pushing to this internal table. Sorry, this into work area. So what is the work area structure here. How many columns are there in this work area? How many fields are there in this work
5
area?
columns.
Yeah, what are all those? Where we declare?
Program, DIN, Pro.
If you double, no, not those fields. That is for BDC data. Now we created this work area with a reference of structure in the top. If you double click on this work area, this is reference of type. TY FTXP having these 5 columns, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, that is a link. Work area having type, structure having 5 columns. Now work area also having these 5 columns. What are the 5 columns? These 5. This is this is
Land
type.
one.
This is a columns. Land 1, MWSKJ, text 1, MWRT, KBTR. So now work area having single record with these columns, right? While doing the loop.
Yeah.
So once we read the data, this else block will be executed. Internal table having all 9 entries. We are pushing one entry to work area and one entry having all 5 columns. Now we need those 5 columns to pass into this recording. Now I'm just copy this recording. I'll write it inside this loop. I'll uncomment it. Just uplift it. Understood, guys? So now this work area having how many columns?
5 columns.
What is the first column, Shobit?
Land one.
Yeah, what is the land? What is the land one?
Countries.
Yeah. So how to refer the land one with work area? What is the symbol we need to use to refer? @ underscore or hyphen?
Underscore.
Underscore. Underscore is using for variables.
Hyphen.
Yeah. So work area underscore FTXP hyphen land one is the value of country, right? That is that particular field storing the country. Okay. So write it the same thing here. Okay. Work area FTXP hyphen land one. So when the 9 entries are looping, the first entry will come here. What is the first entry? This is the first entry. Now we are referring work area hyphen land one. What is the value? France. France will be coming here as a variable. In our recording also we captured France only, right here. So if it is a text, we need to put single quote. If it is a variable, we don't need to put single quote. Now this variable having France. So we are processing. Next, we need to process tax code. Work area FTXP MW SKJ. This is a second field. What we are processing, we are processing 01 here. And here we need to process text. Are you getting?
Yeah, yes, sir.
And next, we need to process here FTXP MW ART. You don't need to worry about it. You can see in previous line only everything is mentioned, field names. And here we need to process FTXP hyphen KBETR. It's done, right? 5 fields we process, then we're clearing and loop is closed. Second time again, second loop will start. Is it clear?
Okay.
When second loops comes, because we already cleared the work area, second loop, second entry will come. What is the second record? Land France 02 will process. Now what we supposed to do inside this subroutine? Subroutines are there, but have you implemented these subroutines? Didn't implement. If you double click this, click on S, create in the main program. I'm just creating DIN profile. So having 2 input parameters, right? If you remember in field catalog also we process this approach. Here we have two
Yes, sir.
values. That is why we got two variables. Now we need to append this all these subroutines into final structure. What is the final structure? Final structure should be created for BDC data, IT BDC data, type table of BDC data. So what is the BDC data which is having 5 columns? Right, in this Excel in this PPT I was already discussed this, right? BDC data with 5 columns. So we need to generate the same recording structure using this subroutines now. Okay, I created internal table. Now I'm going to create work area for that. Work area, BDC data, type BDC data. Okay, so now work area having how many fields? 5 fields. We can see this structure. If I double click this, you can see here program, DIN Pro, DIN begin, FNAME, FL. This is a standard structure. You can see BDS input, new table, field structure. So 5 fields are there. Copy these 5 fields by using Control Y and Control C. Now come to this subroutine. Here, work area BDC data. F1. So we have to populate all 5 fields. Equal to, what is the first one? Program. Program will come in this variable. And next DIN Pro will come in this variable. What about remaining fields? Come to go to this recording. I'll show in the recording. Where is the recording? In SSDB. So this is the structure. Okay, so this one we are talking. How many columns we have? 5 columns. So SAP LSP04, that is there here, and 300 is there. After 300, X is fixed. Everywhere you can say X is fixed, so X is not captured. After that, field and field value is there.
No.
Both are empty. Okay, now come down. So that program and screen number will come into these 2 variables. We already passed. What is that? DIN Pro begin. What is there here? X. We can hard code the X value. What is next? 2 values, field name and field value. Do you have any values here? It's empty. We just pass it empty. Empty space. So one record is pushed. Now what we supposed to is append work area BDC data into IT underscore BDC data. And clear work area BDC data. Understood how many records we push now? Single record.
5.
Right. KBTR. It's KBTR. That's all. How many records we are pushing? Single record here. So DIN Pro is done. Next, field. Double click this, create this subroutine. This subroutine also having 2 parameters. So these 2 are referring field name and field value. These 2. If you see in the recording, these 2 are under the field name and field value. Remaining first 3 columns are empty, right? Are you able to see this? Yeah. Now structure is same. Okay, we can copy same thing. Because BDC data structure will not change. 5 columns on. Now first one is empty. We just pass empty. Second one also is empty. Third one also empty, na? Here. 3 empty. Fourth, fifth one is having values. You can pass this into 4th field. Pass this into 5th field. Now this is also done. How many subroutines we generated as of now?
2.
How many subroutines we have here?
Remaining, sir. Remaining 3.
3.
Yes, sir.
From here to here, how many subroutines we have? I'll scroll down up and down 2 times. You can count it. Total, we have 3 subroutines. One is dyne pro, field, and transaction. Remaining are repeated, right? So all are created. Now only transaction we have to create. Double click, create is. So we have only one parameter, which is the transaction FTXP here. Okay. Now this is BDC transaction means we need to use the call transaction syntax. Call transaction. Transaction in the syntax I was showing double quote and transaction name, but our transaction will come in the variable using ITBDC data. We'll be pushing every entry into this, right? So we are pushing ITBDC data. Update all screen mode asynchronous messages into ITMS. Have we created this ITMSG? We didn't create. We have to create this ITMSG. ITMSG type table of BDC MSG call. This is also I was shown in the document. Yeah, here you can see BDC message call. We need to handle errors and success messages by declaring an internal table of BDC message call. This is the syntax. We can pass directly transaction, but since it is there in the subroutine, this FTXP will be coming in this formal parameter. We can use that parameter here. This will be acting as a FTXP only. So ITMSG also done. Now immediately you can write size sub us. Size sub us equal to 0. I can write message process. Else it is failed. Okay, no error. Okay. So as of now, we implemented the code successfully. Only execution part is there. Execution and session method we'll see in next session. Okay. No additional, no additional code is required. The code is implemented everything, but execution, testing, and session method we'll see in next session. Okay.
Sir, if you upload 10,000 entries, same procedure.
Yeah,
we
10,000
follow.
entries or 1 lakh entries, procedure is same, but in call transaction, we preferred less than 10,000 entries. If it is more than 10,000 entries, session method we need to use. Session method in